We're like a whole new podcast, baby, with the same stupidity and the same the same brain cell.
And I can't believe we're talking about it.
Well, I can't believe we got to talk about it either, but at some point in time, everybody's always got to have something to complain about.
I can't believe it's not butter.
All right, guys, welcome to the Talk Before You Run podcast. As you can see, if you're on YouTube, you're not going to see it on Spotify. But if you're on Spotify and you want to see it, go over to the YouTube, Talk Before You Run. Everything's different. We're like a whole new podcast, baby, with the same stupidity. And the same the same brain cell. The same bad jokes from Sweden. But we are trying something different. We got a whole new background going. We got our own little characters going that, as you can see, whenever I talk, it changes. Everybody else's, as of right now, will light up whenever they speak. That way you kind of know a little bit better. Yeah, that way you kind of know a little bit better on who it is that you're talking, who's talking at that time. Just trying some new things out, and if we end up liking this, or if we get good feedback at it, this may be the way that it ends up staying. We may change again. Who knows? We're still, even though we've been doing this for a while now, every single day we're still learning new things about this. So, just enjoy the ride. I am going to start this out. Yep, exactly. We're learning, y'all enjoying, we're enjoying doing this. Or at least I'm hoping everybody's enjoying doing this. If not, then,
What are we doing here?
Exactly.
I got 4 kids to feed, all right?
Well, Beaker's kind of got, a lot more life things going on than the rest of us as of right now. So, that's why he's in and out sometimes. Sometimes he's here, sometimes he's not. Speaking of not here, as you can see, Pineapple is not here today. As of the date of recording, September 1st, 2023, we would like to wish Jess, a.k.a. Pineapple, and Cade, a.k.a. Yeetus, even though y'all don't know who Yeetus is, a happy anniversary. Round of applause, everybody.
Woo!
Yeah.
I'm sorry, did you say something about a round of applause?
Yeah, I said a round of applause, buddy. For the anniversary.
So sorry, I missed that. I'm so happy for him. And I was late on that. I had to stall for it to load. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess that's why I started clapping my hands, because I thought you was gonna be on the ball with that. But it's all good. It's all good. We still got a round of applause. So y'all do us a favor. Y'all go ahead in the comment section, wish both of them a happy anniversary, and we're gonna go ahead and jump on into this. So, what we're gonna be talking about today, I find to be very, very, very hilarious and very, very stupid at the same time.
And I can't believe we're talking about it.
Well, I can't believe we got to talk about it either, but at some point in time, everybody's always got to have something to complain about. And when I say that, all right, one at a time. Switch, what'd you say?
Go ahead, Doug.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm usually not. Okay. I got a lot of things to complain about.
Well, we know that.
Yeah.
All I said was I can't believe it's not butter.
I said I can't believe it's not butter.
Oh, really?
Well, I guess we can't believe it's not butter, guys. But it is very sad.
At the same time, we didn't even realize we said it together.
Right, I didn't even realize y'all said it together. But it is sad that, somebody's always got to have something to complain about. When I say that, so we're talking about a video game that has been 20 years in the making.
Not even officially out yet.
Yeah, that has not even officially been released. And people are already complaining. Well, they were complaining even before the pre-release.
Yeah, but as of recording, it's like the first day of the pre-release.
Yeah, so like you said, as of recording it today on the 1st, it is the first day of anybody who pre-ordered the game can play it. But we are talking about Starfield. This game has been 20 years in the making by... I can't... Okay, I'm glad you can pronounce it, because I can't, because I was about to butcher that. I felt it coming off my tongue wrong. That's serious. By, say it again, Switch.
Bethesda.
Try to say that name 5 times fast. This game has been 20 years in the making. It is supposed to be a little bit more on the realistic side, but not the realistic side, if I'm correct, right? Switch, you know a little bit more about this. Actually, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it over from here.
Alright, so obviously it's a fantasy world because space exploration. As far as I know, I haven't deep dived into it. It's kind of realistic, I guess, in the sense that we're in our solar system. We're not in like some fantasy solar system. Although there are other fantasy solar systems, or I'm sorry, systems, because the reason it anyway. I'm not gonna.
I think you're thinking of the word NASA punk.
I was gonna sidetrack on the whole reason why we call it the solar system, but anyway, our galaxy, which is the solar system, as we know of it, uh, is in the game. But there's also other galaxies, is what I should have said. Those other galaxies may or may not be fantasy or based there off of, The complaint is by far the most astronomical when it comes to reality versus fantasy. Yes, it's a fantasy game. Yeah, yes, it's digital. Yes, you should be able to do what you want in a digital game world. But when it comes to trying to do something that we can't do in real life, like, land on a gas giant, which was the specific complaint by a Twitter user, apparently. Not a Reddit user, a Twitter user, apparently, this time.
Oh, it's not Twitter, X.
Oh, yeah, an X. Sorry. It's pronounced Twitter.
Yeah, it's spelled X, pronounced Twitter.
Yeah. Or the Everything app, whatever you want to call it.
Not an X Twitter user. Don't get it confused. It is X, formerly known as Twitter.
Right. Yeah, they're still on Twitter. I'm still looking at the tweet on my phone. I can't find it. This article was saying what they tweeted, and they don't have the exact tweet, I don't think, but they have like comments on the tweet. Some of them are using some weird language here. I'm thinking that's because Google has decided to not recognize the font or whatever, because it has those little rectangular boxes with the X's indicating there's a letter there, but you can't read it. Anyway, I'll do my best. On August 29th of this year, someone at Twitter X, or the Everything app, whatever you want to call it, Elon Musk's social media platform, if you could land on a planet, on the planet, which is again in response to not being able to land on a specific planet in the game that resembles a gas giant, you'd fall continuously as the pressure would increase, which would eventually crush and vaporize you. So, I think I'm good with not being able to land there. Yeah, I think that's what it is. That sounds about right.
Sounds right to me.
Which is smart. I mean, it makes sense. You can't land on a gas giant. It'd be like, it's a Titan all over again.
So,
Titan submarine. Sorry.
From what I understand, it's 2 planets out of this entire game.
Oh, I have no idea. I'm sure there's more than just 2. But in this particular argument, I think there was 2. Or there was one that resembled 2 of our gas giants.
Okay, all right. So, because I know I read somewhere where it said
1 or 2. Like, sorry, Travis, I didn't mean to.
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You've been trying to talk, so go ahead.
So what I understand is there's one that was supposed to resemble Saturn.
Yeah.
And one that was supposed to resemble Jupiter.
Uranus.
Oh, Uranus. Okay. So it was supposed to be Uranus and Saturn.
Of course I would get a reaction out of him. Sorry.
My bad.
I mean, Uranus is a gas giant, but that's beside the point. More like a gas opening. Okay, that one doesn't get a laugh. All right, whatever.
He's like, all right, fuck you guys.
But so, if that's the case, if these are the 2 that now those are the only 2 that I've heard distinguished, at all. I mean, I haven't heard anything about any of the other ones. That means there's 2 planets in this entire game. Those are the only 2 that you can't land on. Out of however many planets they have, because I don't know if it's like multiple solar systems or what it's supposed to be.
I'm not sure if they said exactly 1,000 or over 1,000.
But
Okay.
even at that, so that's what me. So Switch, we discussed this right the other day.
Yeah.
We were talking about how your topic was going to be, you know, mainly focused on bringing up the discussion of landing on a gas planet, and even I brought up 2 out of the thousands that will be there. You're going to complain?
Well,
I feel
according
like if you jump out on or not even land, but like just to just float through it,
uh,
what are you mad for? Enjoy it.
I think with all the things that you can do in this game, so people have compared it to No Man's Sky, like a lot. They've done it. They beat that horse to death, comparing it to No Man's Sky. And yes, they could do it with. It makes sense that it's comparable because it's a space game, but there's so much more to Starfield than just space exploration. Where that's all that No Man's Sky
No
is
man,
explore and build and explore, and and they give you a multitude procedurally generated to. There's not really there's story there with Artemis and stuff like that, but there's not like side quests that are different. You get side quests with your guild or whatever at the space station and whatnot, but those are just copied and pasted things. It's the same thing, different galaxy, different system, whatever. Whereas Starfield is like a true Bethesda game, like Skyrim, or Oblivion. There was a main storyline, and then you had like this whole world with the potential of all kinds of other campaign missions you can do.
So basically, there's a storyline with multiple branches branching off of the main line, is what he's trying to say, right?
Yeah, it's the whole game. It's set. It's procedurally generated plus it's set. So we can't actually land on the planets physically with our like you can in No Man's Sky. It's a cutscene, and you're in this little from the gameplay I've seen on Twitch, because I've seen some people who've pre-ordered. They've got this little bubble of space that you can see the planet and you can fly around, but you can't get closer to the planet. You can't get closer to the sun. You can't get closer to the moon. It's like you're there, but you're not there. That's just in space, and there are borders, but it takes forever to get to them. From what I hear, invisible borders. But I mean, of
that
course.
sounds awful.
Well, I mean, of course, if you go to, you can apparently you can visit Earth. If you go to Earth, how long would it take you to walk around the Earth? Walking, right? It'd take you days or
Try
more.
more
What?
like a lot longer than that, buddy.
Well, I'm just saying days if you didn't sleep, drink, or stop. If you
It
could like
still take you like
if you could
months.
set your controller to just walk and you wouldn't have to worry about anything like you could on a video game and had obviously enough land to walk around the world without having to swim and whatnot. But yeah, it would take you days, months, years, whatever. Uh, who would be able to do that except for someone who, like I said, set their controller down or whatever?
But I want to go back to the
I was
whole
gonna say.
two planets thing. The
Yeah,
two that they're complaining that they can't land on. Like you
yeah.
said, there's either 8,000 or over 8,000 planets. Do
Well,
you,
the reason why I remember Todd Howard saying there's over 1,000 planets, but I also remember they said only 10% of them have life forms. Like it's not fauna. It's a flora or fauna that are flora or fauna. One of them is plants, and one of them is animals. So 10% of them are not going to have, or only 10% of them are going to have animals, which equate to about 100. So that's what gave me there might be only 1,000, or it might be like 1,001 or whatever. I don't know.
sure it's like maybe not the other way around, and there's only 10% of them that aren't gonna have life forms on it?
No, it's
No, it's
10% that
only
have
10%
life form.
that has life form.
All
Okay.
the other ones are just going to be like resource deposits and other things like that. And when I say life forms, I don't mean like humanoid mission type. That you might get a mission that goes out to an uninhabited thing, but still has
So
a camp or
basically, it
something.
has like living organisms and stuff like that on
Right, like animals, dogs, cats, lions, tigers, bears. Oh my, that sort of stuff.
it. Yeah. Okay, so I get you. So 10% of the planets, which, like you said, equates to about 100 of them. If there's only
Yeah,
1,000 of them, it is 100 of them.
right.
Are gonna have life forms on it. Everything else is material deposits, ores, metals, stuff like that.
Exactly.
But it still goes back to there's 2 planets. So that leaves you with 998 planets that you can land on, run around, and explore, and you're gonna complain about 2 planets.
Mm-hmm. Not being able to land on something that
You really couldn't land on.
What my first initial thought was when I heard about this was, you know what? You go try to do it in real life, and I'll hide and watch.
Well, see, and they keep coming up with these arguments. They're like, "Oh, well, there's jetpacks and this, that, and everything else, and you're
Yeah,
flying on a spaceship that's shaped like a robot and all this." But even then,
right,
if that's the case, it would still be physically impossible, even
right.
with a jetpack, to fly around this planet. It's still just not plausible.
Yeah, it defies physics.
I mean, you would literally be crushed
Yep.
by the
You'd
force of
implode.
this planet. I mean, it would just be.
Yeah, which is far more than the force of what the Titan submarine felt. Because this is a planet, not just a little bitty ocean on a planet.
I think some people are just having too many unrealistic ideas about what this game was supposed to be.
Right.
And like I said,
And
this
that,
game is 20 years in the making.
I
They've
was about to say
done.
that's
Go ahead.
sorry. I was about to say that's what happens when you have 20 years of suspense boiling up.
That's what I'm saying. 20 years in the making. Don't you think they've thought of every possibility of what this game needed? And
Right.
maybe it needed those 2 planets that you couldn't land on, because that's what it makes our solar system.
Right.
So I don't know. It's just that'd be just like saying, "Oh, well, there's a sun in the solar system. Why can't we land on it?"
Right.
Well, I don't know. Maybe because it's the sun.
And the lack there of the most important part of being land.
Oxygen.
You can't land on not something that's not land.
Well, I mean, tell that to them.
Bubbles. Yeah.
Because
Sun
the
was a
person.
planet.
Go ahead, Ferno.
I thought the sun was a planet.
The sun is actually a star.
I knew that now.
Bless your heart.
A while ago. I thought it was.
Actually, you'd be surprised how many people think that the sun's a planet, but it's actually just a star.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt stupid when I felt. Of
Same.
course, it's not a planet. Can't land on it.
Some people think that Earth is flat. So.
And that water's wet, but we're not going to get
You
into
said
that
it
one.
Well, I say if water can be dry, then it can be wet.
That's what. That's not how it works. And water can't be dry either. So it's
yes. Then how come you always get dried out when you drink bottled water?
Well, that has to do with the chemicals that they put in the water.
Well, yeah. So it's dry. It's water.
But if you take 100% purified, all natural water, it cannot be dry. It cannot be wet. Those are state of beings. Now, water can make something wet, and then water can be absent of and be made dry.
I have a brain teaser for you.
Okay.
Because you said molecules. All right. So it's more of a question theory. If you have all of the ingredients to make a cake, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have it all next to each other, not necessarily mixed up, that's still technically a cake. Just not.
No, it's not.
Well, what?
That's ingredients. That's not a
I get what he's saying.
Shit ain't Minecraft.
All of that
Yeah,
stuff.
I get. Yeah,
So flow with me.
It's not a cake yet.
Flow with me here. It's a cake, but it's not physically perceived as the finished product.
See, but there's
you never started it.
There's
if you
one
started it,
theory.
then it was a cake.
See, but that's the problem with that theory. Okay, if you take oxygen and 2 hydrogens,
right?
They're not water until you combine them. Then they become water.
Right, but they're still the molecules for water, so they're so that's like our body is 70% water, but it's not in the H2O form.
No,
Guys.
that's our body is
I would have done my
I'm trying to
kids'
think of how
homework
to-
if I wanted to talk school.
Trying to think of how to put this. Our body is made up of water.
Yeah, 70%.
Yeah.
But
But
73.
if you take that water out of somebody, they die, right?
They're gonna be a raisin.
Right.
Exactly.
My
That's not the same thing. If you take flour, grease, and a piece of chicken,
hmm
that's not fried chicken.
It is,
Now, if
but
you
it's
take
not. It's not perceived in the physical form as fried chicken, though.
no, it's chicken,
It's
grease, and
it's
flour.
yeah, but if you take away time, which is a false thing, at least the way we perceive it, then it's still technically a fried chicken, just not yet in that form.
Well, how do you say that time is a falsely perceived thing?
Okay, we perceive it in a false way. In it, from what I see it, I think, and it's really hard to explain. So
Time is a made-up concept, right?
exactly, time is made. So is mathematics.
So like, I get what he's saying as far as the like time thing, because like, if we do nothing as far as keeping track of time, like we have no idea, you know, what we see it as like kids. Okay, kids see it as nighttime's bedtime, but in reality, like people have things to do at night. You know, there's jobs that are still worked, and so like,
Yeah, kinda.
well, no, like, and so like time being like, oh, people work this hours to this hours, and it's like, man, and it creates an idea of an 8 to 5 idea, and then there's you keep a schedule based around that, and then your life's created based on the time that you have in a day or in a night. And so for like me, when I didn't have this life before, all I did was play games and smoke weed and this stuff, right? I didn't. I'd go out and still try to go get food at 11 o'clock at night, like not realizing like most stuff is either closed or the same options that I've been eating because my schedule's completely fucked because I don't have to base my life around what has to be done and what doesn't. I just do things.
See, but that's just it. Just because our perception of time may not even be right. Okay, we'll just throw it out there like that. Our perception of time may not be right, but time is not a made up ideology because you can physically
do you think a
see.
dog keeps track of time?
But that's what I'm saying. You can physically see the change of time.
Why do you think a dog gets so
Okay,
excited
so
when they realize, like, when you're gone, they don't realize it's been 15 minutes, but to them, that's been, a lifetime.
All right, but what about the dogs that'll be sitting there waiting for their owners to come back for work? They'll be around the house all day long, but then as soon as it comes like 5 minutes to 5 o'clock, they at the window watching.
Because then that person works a consistent
But
schedule.
that's still a dog keeping track of time.
Time
it's
for
literally
the day,
them
but not
trained
like
to know. Like
calendar time.
dogs are smart, yes, but they're not.
They probably don't know what day it is, but they know what
They don't know.
the general time it is in the day.
They don't know Monday through Sunday.
But that's what I was talking. Calendar time, our linear time, how we perceive it, is made up.
Well, yeah, but that's everything in this world is made up.
If you think of time and the reality of what time is, and you think of string theory, and how when you think of a string theory, you have to think of a ball of yarn where everything connects.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what time is in reality, but we only see one line when we're looking at it. It's kind of like whenever we're doing the imaging at CERN, the collider thing. Whatever is happening on a molecular level, and we take a measurement. Whatever was happening stops happening for that moment. In that moment, it's like taking a picture, right? So if you're at a football game, or let's see, if everybody's running, and you take a picture at a specific spot, you're only
They're
going
no
to see
longer.
what's
You just took a
happening
picture of
in
us.
this picture. You're only going to see the one person in this picture, and they're going to be doing running. Whereas you have all this other information that we can't see that's going on at the same time at the same area.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I want to hear Fevno input.
Uh,
I'm pretty sure.
Fevno, Fevno, being in school, how do you feel about time?
well, I don't know. Like it's like on basis. I don't really need the more attention I don't pay to the clock, the faster time goes by. But that's just me. I don't know. That's always been for me.
All right, but do you think time is a made-up concept? That's what we're discussing.
No,
Not
because you
whether or
can
not
see age. You can see aging, so it's obviously a concept. But like calendars and shit, I don't. Not really.
I may have overstepped
Like
when I said
time,
made up
like the
concept.
hour,
Sorry.
like the rotation. That's obviously something.
But no,
But then again, well, less calendars because the rotation of our axis
well, I don't know how many
and get
times my ex
seasons.
rotated, but
I said that right. Axis rotated. What did I say?
you said exes.
Oh my
I
bad.
was
My
going
bad
to ask
gang.
if they're from Texas.
Playing on the merry-go-round. How many times you go around, girl? But no, Switch. I taking a step back, I get what you're saying about our perception or our made-up, time schedule, the clock, calendar,
Right.
time,
I
stuff like
shouldn't have
that.
said made up. I should have said something different. I explained that. Sorry.
Yeah, but time itself is not a made-up concept because you can see the physical changes of time.
Right.
Mhm.
It's just that we can't perceive it on the level of what it is. We can only see in linear references.
Well, yeah, because we're not God. We're only human. We can only see and perceive what is within our scope.
Right.
Weird. Like, are you trying to talk about like the way different planets engage time, like the twin paradox? Is that what you're talking about by like made up, sort of?
The twin paradox? What do you mean?
Yeah. It's an experiment where identical twins who make a journey in high speed or like a high speed rocket will return home, and then they are both different age.
Well, yeah, no, that's a part of it, yeah, but not specifically talking about it. But yeah, that's totally true. It's because time works differently the further away you get from. That's the whole Einstein time is relative.
That is true. Time. I mean, so
Time and
what
gravity are peas and carrots.
what Switch was trying to say is so like on my computer right now it says 8:49 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
That time is a made up time.
Right.
But in a way it's on a basis of day and night.
Right.
It's on a basis of like, because for me, I'm 2 hours, so 6:47. Well, 6:48, but yeah, I mean, it's
I don't know if y'all
time.
know this, but Baker lost his train of thought just now.
I noticed.
No, I thought I was waiting for because my phone just completely went dark.
I was like, well, shit. We have bad weather here, so
Sorry. That's
it's
not good.
It's just really
That's
strong.
me.
Oh, we got
So-
bad weather, bad everything down here right now.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah, it's all right.
Bad weather in Florida too.
But
Yeah, but they're getting
Well, I
hit with a
mean,
hurricane right now, aren't they?
Yeah. Hillary.
Really, we wouldn't if we didn't have a clock or anything. Otherwise, we wouldn't know that. I'm 2 hours, behind.
Yeah, they would just know that it's still daylight there and not here.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's what time is based off of. Time is based off of the positioning to the sun.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but it's they created that.
Well, yeah, that's
Well,
that's what Switch was
we
trying to
didn't-
say. But when he said it, he said that time itself was a
Yeah,
made-up concept.
Yeah, I misexplained it. So we didn't create time. We created the measurement for time.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
measurement.
you
one.
should. You definitely should say that.
Yeah, I should have said it at the beginning, but I couldn't spit it out.
Switch definitely
Sorry.
dropped the ball
Like-
on that one.
Yeah,
Like
words are
PM.
hard, man.
PM in circumstance doesn't exist. We made that up. You are
Yeah.
right. But there is still like a cycle of where you can tell it's 8
I-
p.m. then 5 p.m.
I was reading or listening to someone say that there should be 13 months in the year, all of them only having 28 days, and then
I'm just,
every
That would fuck up our seasons.
Oh, no.
I'm just curious. Which
Every-
was it? Did you read it or did you hear it? Like,
I
Did
couldn't
someone
tell you. It might have been both.
I've
Here
heard
and
it
there,
and
both
read it.
a little bit. Yeah,
yeah,
like I read some
I
of
was
it.
reading
read
an
some of it.
audiobook.
No,
I
it
think it
might
was
have
just
been
a
like
white dude with subtitles.
It might have been like
I've seen the TikTok.
I saw a TikTok too, but
You sent it?
I think I saw an article. Oh, did I send it to you?
Sent it to who?
Or I either read an article on it or I read comments in the comment section of the TikTok. But
Look,
yeah,
guys, I promise I'll go through my TikToks, okay? The messages was. I'm sorry. I just I get, like I said, it's bad signal, so I can't even load them.
I don't know what you're talking about. You didn't go through my TikToks even before you had bad signal.
right?
I had just made it. What do you mean?
You lying sack of...
What do you mean?
You're not even following me on my personal account.
Hell, I don't even know if I follow you on your personal account.
You
Yeah.
do.
I do? Oh. Hey guys, I
Yeah.
follow Fevno on his personal account.
All right, make sure you drop it down below, and we'll make sure to go follow your Fev now.
Also, guys, don't forget,
so no one go follow it.
if you do want to follow on TikTok, if you don't want to follow Fevno, if you don't want to follow Baker, if you don't want to follow Switch, if you don't want to follow me, you can still follow the Talk Before You Run podcast on TikTok, as well as
Yeah,
X,
X,
formerly
X,
known
yeah.
as Twitter, Instagram, formerly known as It's Probably Still a Blank Page, and then
Look, we haven't. I haven't gotten anything from y'all. Okay.
and then of course, you know, YouTube and Spotify. Just keep that in mind, guys.
On the Discord, I worked hard on it.
Yeah, and the Discord.
I'm gonna pop off on that. I'll just wait.
I was gonna be hit with facts and evidence.
A
Right,
little
watch.
bit of everything, huh? But back to what we were saying. Switch, you did drop the ball on that one because when you said it, I was thinking that you was talking about time itself being a made-up concept,
Yeah, my bad.
which completely
Words are
threw me
hard.
off.
Wait, so he was talking about the measurement of time.
Well,
Yeah.
The concept of like time, the measurement of time was, yeah. But I
Well,
mean, and
saying
that's what I was
that-
explaining from is like we created this thing to keep like a schedule based living, and not everybody does it like that, and you know, especially most people that don't tend to leave their house often. They just go out and get what they need and come back. They're not sitting there looking at the clock waiting for something to happen. They're not sitting there. If they're off in their own world, then time doesn't exist. You know, a clock pretty much keeps the concept of time, like, or I guess the measurement of time,
It's
is definitely
irrelevant to them.
it's like
Not that it doesn't exist, it's just irrelevant to that person.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, on most cases.
because time
Unless
definitely
it's-
exists whether
yeah.
you exist or not. So
Yeah, time will exist long after we don't exist anymore. Time existed well before we existed. Just the measurement of time will not
Yep.
exist because there will be nobody to measure it.
Right.
Or who knows, maybe 150 years from now, 200 years from now, they might go, well, we've been doing this wrong all these years.
shit, we've been doing this wrong the whole time.
Let's go
Yeah,
ahead
I-
and swap it.
I think we've been doing math wrong all our lives too.
Well, math is, like you said,
I
with
have one
time.
thing and I have another. I'm pretty sure I have two things.
What about two things?
So when I got one thing and I got another, I'm pretty sure that counts up to two.
Well,
But,
yeah. Okay, but it's flawed. Take 100, right? Now
Yeah, 100 apples.
divided by 3 evenly.
Evenly?
Oh, you just
You
messed him
can't-
up, buddy.
You
I
can't
did.
do that.
You get 33.33333 infinitely.
You know why it's infinite? Because there's 0.00303 left over.
Yep. Which is not physically possible. That's why
Exactly.
it's infinite.
Yep.
See, but this goes back to another thing. So watch this. I was recently taught by one of the gentlemen that I work with, when you're doing math based on money, and now you could even go and look this up. There's a whole chart. He told me about this and everything. There's a whole chart. When you are taking 40% and putting it into a decimal, what do you get?
40% into a decimal. I have no idea.
You get
A smaller,
0.4.
bigger Okay, I didn't know that.
So you get
Yeah,
0.4.
take this one, move it over.
Yeah, so
And your
40%
percentage-
is 0.4 in a decimal. So if you do, say, $1.99 times 4,
hmm
I mean, times 0.4, I apologize, because when you're doing percentage, when you
Right.
change it to decimal, you multiply.
Mhm.
times 0.4, you get one answer. But that's not right. When you're doing measurements based on money, you do whatever that is divided by 1.67. Make that make sense.
Hold on. What? Let me get to my calculator. You blew my mind.
But
You said
it comes
190
out with two different answers. But doing 0.4 is not right.
Okay. But you said $1.99,
$1.99.
right? $1.99. And you said divide it by or multiply it by 0.4 or divide it by 4.
Multiply it by 0.4 and tell me what you get.
Right, and that would be the 40% of $1.99, which is 79 cents. But if you round up, it's 80 cents.
Okay, but you're not rounding up. You're taking 79 cents.
Right.
Okay, now do $1.99 divided by 1.67.
1.67. $1.19.
But the 1.67 is what you're supposed to go by, which is $1.19.
Why?
I have no idea. But you can go on Google or wherever it is you want to go on Google, Bing, it doesn't matter. And if you look up, what did he say that it was? I don't know, but there's a whole chart based on that right there. So if you do $1.99 and you want 50%, you do $1.99 divided by 2, and that's your thing. So the only thing I can think of,
Your taxes?
not taxes. This is if you're marking up. So I work for a wholesale company.
Mhm.
When we get our stuff in, we get it at the price that we pay from the factories that made it, and then we mark up. So we're marking up 40%. You do the whatever was we paid for it divided by 1.67. That's what your markup's going to be. So it was $1.19. So you add $1.19 to the $1.99, and that's
That
what we
makes
sell
sense.
it for. And then the retail stores do the same thing. Might be different percentages, but it's the same thing.
Right. That makes sense that it would be for markup.
So if you want to do, say, 100% of $1.99, you would do $1.99 divided by 4. So that's I'm thinking the only way that it works is going off of like a quarter basis. So to get 25%, or you would do, what would it be? Hold up.
25%.
All right, let's just go back for a sec. If you do 50%, we'll go back to 50% because it's easier to figure out. If you go
Yeah, right.
50%, take it as like a 50 cent. Out of 100, how many would it take? How many quarters would it take to get to 50? 2 of them. So it'd be
Right.
$1.99 divided by 2. If you do the 40%, you have 1 quarter, and then whatever's left over, which is how you get the 1.67. But why does it run off of 2 different? It don't make sense to me. 100 still 100. It takes 100 pennies to make $1, and it takes 100% to make a whole.
Right.
Why is it ran off of 2 different bases?
It beats me.
Bro, when he told me that, I was like completely confused. I was like, that's not right. That there's something wrong with that. Nope, that's how it is. It's weird.
Yeah.
I cannot explain that.
Me
He
neither.
can't. He actually really can't explain it either. But that's the only logical thing that I can come up with. But I don't see why you don't get the same answer, or why it goes off of 1.67 rather than going off of 0.4. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a company, you're going to go off the 1.67 because you're getting more out of it.
Right.
But 0.4 is still 40%. I don't know. Blows my mind. That's all I got to say.
I'm too high for this shit.
That'll probably be the first and last time anybody ever hears that on this podcast.
My bad.
Why are you saying my bad? That's on you, buddy.
My bad. I didn't mean to say that. Well, like I can't do money or math or literally anything.
See,
I've been quiet right now. I've just been chilling.
I
You've been
even
muted.
took
Muted?
financial
Muted?
math when I was in school and was never taught that.
I just don't feel like it. I've been doing homework all week with my kid.
Well, like I feel like it's not a problem now, so why would they need to teach it? It's like something you learned from like what are those people called? They're teachers, but
A
it's not
teacher?
like teaching. No, but like a mentor, kind of.
Tutor?
A mentor is
No,
a
like
teacher.
teaches you how to run the company.
A teacher.
Would that be a teacher?
A teacher, a mentor. I mean, they're all the same thing. They're
Yeah.
all
I thought there was like a
teaching you
word
something.
for it, like sensei or
GM.
some shit. I don't know, my bad. But yeah,
Well, I mean, it depends. Yeah, Sensei would work too. It depends on what part of the world you're in, what language you use.
but like I'm talking about like financial people, like people like on Wall Street. You know what I mean? They'll
Uh,
use stuff.
I mean, you
Some
got
people call them gurus.
financial advisors,
Yeah,
but that's
that or
somebody
financial
that's
guru.
telling you what you need to do with your money. That's not teaching you.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like people teaching you how to use scams like that, because they're not gonna directly teach you something like that when they don't
Oh,
even have the answer to it.
you talking about people who have hold seminars?
No, I'm talking about like you done the best in your class, and then you go to this job, and then the CEO teaches you how to take their spot, and they teaches their little tricks they've used.
So that just makes you an
That's just
intern.
training.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
training. You're an intern
Yeah.
if you're not
Yeah.
getting paid
That's
for it.
well, my bad, my bad. That's the word.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
the
you can still
intern
get
is the
paid
one
for it,
being
but, like
trained.
learning in general.
Yeah, and internships very rarely get paid. That's why they use the word internship.
Right. I think it probably derives from indentured or something like that.
I have no idea.
Me neither.
All I know is it does not make sense to me. And even taking financial math in school, I was never taught that.
I never took financial math in school.
I took like a bunch of different remedial maths. Like I took algebra 1 because I had to.
Right.
All the other maths I took was remedial. Like financial math, math something. I don't
I got
remember.
lucky.
Math
I got
essentials, that's what
lucky.
it was.
My computer science class counted toward a math merit when I was going to school, so I got lucky.
Well, computer science has math involved in. Well, not
Right.
really math involved, but
Well, I took it because it was two different subjects in one. It was another language plus math.
they counted that as
Alright,
another
nothing but that.
language.
They did up until the year I got so that's why I said I got lucky because the year after that I took it that they stopped doing that.
Yeah, because they realized they were dumb. That's not a language.
Right? They stopped counting computer science toward both. Also, they split algebra 1 into algebra 1A and 1B.
Ooh, that's even weirder. We just had algebra 1, algebra 2, and I think algebra 3.
Yeah.
And I barely passed
yeah.
algebra 1. I definitely was not taking 2 and 3.
I did better in
Algebra
algebra 2 than I
I
did in
did
algebra
too.
1.
I can't be doing all them linear equations and
Well, that's just it. It's like you had a calculator that did all the.
yeah, but I couldn't even figure out how to punch it into the calculator.
Fuck, man.
Would have hated
It took,
calculus.
like, I don't know, like, and even at that, like, once you got used to looking at some of the equations, you could break them down in, like, I don't know, like, I love messing with the graph and stuff. Like when I knew the calculators were coming out and like graphing calculators were coming out, I was like, oh yeah, no, this shit's gonna be easy.
You want me to tell you the most messed up part about the whole thing is I barely passed algebra 1, but when my daddy was in college, he had to take trigonometry his first year.
Oh wow.
And trigonometry
right,
made more
yeah.
sense to me than algebra did, and trigonometry is a college level math.
Yeah,
And I didn't go to college.
I've never even seen trig.
calculus,
Never seen it either. I've heard about it though. I've heard horror stories.
pre-cal.
I tell you what, if you don't go to school and like learn trigonometry, and I mean I didn't. Math always came easy to me until I got into algebra. Algebra was the only math that never came easy to me.
How
But
often you use a square?
I don't even know what a squared A is. All my squares
How
were
often
more
do you use
triangle
a
shaped
square
than
plus?
anything.
How often do you use a square plus b square?
Never. I work a job that consists of me looking at numbers every single day.
I couldn't do that. I've got dysgraphia.
Dysgraphia, yeah. Well, a lot of people got dysgraphia. But I look at numbers every single day, and I have never had to use any of that.
Never.
I mean,
Never.
you've seen how troublesome
Really?
your
Yeah,
name is.
no, me neither.
Whenever I have to type in your name on something, it's horrible. Get past
See-
Travis. I'm like, oh crap! What was the numbers?
Well, that's why I did it like that to confuse people. Not really, but
I didn't even know I was muted, bro. My bad.
but until I got into algebra, math always came easy to me. But like I said, I've never had to use algebra a day in my life. Even though they all sat there talking about, "Oh, you need to learn this. You're gonna need this one day. This is a
Mhm.
requirement to graduate." I've never had to use it.
I've used geometry.
I mean, I've used geometry, but I actually didn't take geometry in school. It wasn't a requirement for me to take it.
It was for me. I had to take 2 geometries, 1 and 2, I think. Or no, it was just 2 semesters. Never mind. I lied. 1 year.
Yeah, we only
But
had one geometry class. It wasn't like geometry 1, geometry 2.
I used geometry every time I play pool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, geometry is something that you use in life. 90% of the things that I learned when I was in school, I've never used.
Yeah. Well,
Bro,
basic
speaking of that,
English reading, yeah, and math. Basic
You ever
math.
done the square root of something?
No, never had to.
Power of?
Nope, never had to do that either. Not like in real life, in my daily life, but in school, yeah, obviously.
I wonder if rich people have to deal with that. Is that like rich people problems?
No, because they hire somebody else who knows how to do it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they see numbers like that and they're like, nope.
they gotta
Somebody else.
They
teach it
see.
to us, because someone has to know. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what people go to college for. See, all these like
That's true.
financial advisors and engineers and stuff like that. The people that do use this every single day in their daily job, like my daddy, for example. My daddy's a graphic designer. He has to use those kind of maths in his job. Okay, so it makes sense for him to have to learn that. But for these kids that want to go for, say, like cosmetology, even welding, okay, I
Yeah.
never had to use any of that stuff. The only thing I needed to learn whenever I got into welding was how to read a blueprint.
Right.
That's the only thing that I needed to learn.
The only numbers you really use in welding is gas. Like if you're using a gas welder, gas welder, MIG, TIG, whatever. You need to know what setting it is. What
Yeah, and you
temperature
need to
setting,
know how to do
pressure wise.
basic measurements.
Yeah, and then obviously there's the whole thickness of the metal compared to what ampage you need if you're stick welding.
Yeah, well, I mean that's all things that you learn over time because everybody's different with that too.
Like,
Some
well, it's
people
not
like
math
welding
though. It's just
hotter.
that thing.
Yeah, it's not math; it's just numbers. Some people like to
Exactly.
weld hotter. Some people like to weld colder. Some it's just that's something you learn over time. That's relative to the person. But
Right.
as far as cutting your plates, you need to have your basic measurements for all of that kind of stuff. But I will say this: I have learned there's a lot of people out there that do not know how to read a tape measure. I was asked not that long ago what the little lines on the tape measure mean.
Depends on which one you're on looking at.
And then
Also
I
depends on the
proceeded
tape
to
measure.
watch them go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and go 48.8.
What? What?
That's
How?
how they read the tape measure.
No.
Like they just didn't know the increments, or we're just
They were
don't
just
know how to.
they never had to read a tape measure before.
I think all of them go down to 16ths, right? But only some of them go down to 30 seconds.
Specialized tape measures do.
Yeah, and they all have every specific amount of length. There, it's a different color, and that's for different colored number
That's also
for
specialized tape measures.
not architect, for studs in the wall.
Yeah, that's I said. That's all specialized tape measures. See, but the art of reading a tape measure is actually going to be, not irrelevant, but it's going to be lost over time. Because now you can buy tape measures that are
Digital.
either digital. Yeah, they got the digital ones, and then they got the ones that whenever you're looking at the little lines, they got it all marked out, 1/4 inch, 5/8, that and everything.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they're nice.
Right.
I like to use them. But at the same time, I know how to read a tape measure.
My problem is I can't focus my eyes enough to read it. So the little numbers that indicate, say this line is a 1/4 or whatever, those help me a lot because I can't, unless I have my finger in there counting each individual one, it'll take me a minute to decipher how many in there.
I mean,
'Cause
Lord,
they're
I
so
even
small.
still count each individual one, but the problem is at the same time, you still know what each individual one means.
Oh, right.
I
Being
mean,
like 16ths, 8ths, and whatnot.
yeah,
Gotcha.
but that is just an art form that's going to be lost over time due to, like you said, digital and
Right.
the analog ones that have
The
everything already there for you.
tape measure is one of the best ways to teach yourself math and fractions.
It's the best way to teach yourself the order of fractions, but not math in general.
But my stepdad taught himself math. He never passed 8th grade, I think, or 4th. One of the two.
I got
I don't
people in my
remember.
family that never made it past the 3rd grade and are still perfectly
And
fine.
right, my stepdad was a contractor, roofer, and used tape measures all the time. And he taught himself math using a tape measure. And then he taught me a little trick with a tape measure. You can take the year someone was born, and it depended on whether they had the birthday that year or not. And then you take the current year and folded it, and it would tell you how old they were at the fold.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
You
that's
lost
what
me
the
on that
measure.
one.
It was pretty. You take two pieces of the information, which you could obviously discern what their birthday is and how old they are using math. But if you use the tape measure without using your noggin or whatever, you take the end of your tape measure and you go down to the year that they were born on the and fold it in half. That way, your 1 inch at the beginning and 1 inch is at the year here at the tape measure, and at the end of your folds there will be a measurement, and that measurement should be the number of what how old that person is.
That's a party trick, then, is what you're talking about, basically.
Pretty much, but it's mathematics using a tape measure instead of having to do it in your head or on a piece of paper or whatever.
See, but you know the funny part about it is, and this is the reason why a lot of. So when we had the storm come through a few years ago, when Ida came through and hit, the poor guys that we hired to do our office. You know how they always say measure twice, cut once?
Right.
Well, they measured like 15 times and cut 30. Okay. They would come in. I don't even think they actually measured stuff. I think they went, okay, that looks like that, and we're
Eyeballed
going to
it.
go out there and cut it. And then they would go, oh, well, that don't fit, so we're going to cut a little bit more off. And that don't fit, we're going to cut a little bit more off. That don't fit, we're still going to cut a little bit. That's how they did it, dude. When I tell you that I would never hire these people to do anything in my house,
I don't blame
I'm
you.
dead serious. All of our walls are warped.
Oh no.
Every one of them. So they didn't put a single nail. They put a nail at the top and a nail at the bottom in the paneling. And then anything that they would have had to bend over for after that did not get a nail. I'm dead
Wow.
serious. It was bad.
Holy crap.
And anybody who does contracting work or does any kind of, woodworking or anything like that, you got to give, especially panel boards, room to swell and expand.
Yeah,
Yeah, apparently they didn't know that. But that's how they did it. They would go in and, so on and so forth. They never did any actual measuring, I don't think. And if they did,
Wow.
none of them knew how to read a tape measure.
That's
It was pretty bad.
crazy.
I guess in a way it all got fixed, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna complain too much. Next time, and not just them, because like the guys that we hired to do our other building, because our other building had to be completely rebuilt. I'm just waiting for like one really good gust of wind to come and take all of it down.
Oh no.
I hope it doesn't happen because I don't want to have to do the cleanup for all that again. That was
Yeah.
miserable. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
Right.
But we're gonna go ahead and end it here.
Wait, hold on. I got one more thing.
Femno has
back-
something to say.
yeah, so back on the learning stuff in school and not using it. I feel like Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader isn't really like teaching you how smarter the fifth grader is than the normal adult. I think it's just providing evidence on why fifth graders are learning way too much too much of what they don't need from stuff they do need.
I'm 100% convinced that show was faked, anyways.
Oh yeah.
Most of that stuff that these fifth graders supposedly learned, most people didn't learn until they either got into high school.
It was like, wasn't there like a scandal or something? But it was faked.
I have no
I'm not
idea.
100% sure. Maybe there was, and if so, that just proves my theory that show was put on and fake. Most of them game shows, I don't care
I'm
what
thinking about
anybody says, is put on and fake.
like rigged or like just scripted.
May not be rigged, but they're probably scripted. Like I was lucky enough to go and watch uh, two, yeah, I think 2 episodes of Wheel of Fortune, and
So we can
I
see you
hate
in
to
one of
say
the
it.
episodes or what?
No, I'm a nosebleed, so and they didn't have any cameras going to the audience anyway. But uh, I hate to say it because I love this show so much. Pat, the host, he's not as nice as what everybody thinks he is. Like it'll
I
cut
don't think
back,
any of them are nice.
Not a lot of people are.
right? Well, during the commercial breaks, they wouldn't be doing. He'd go off set and then he'd come back on, and then as soon as the camera would start rolling, is when he would start a conversation, like they were already, like he was finishing a conversation. He would start it out like he was finishing, and that gives the audience the feel like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like they were having full on conversation while they were off air. No, no, that's not how that happens.
Yeah, it's like I said, that's everything though.
Yeah,
Now that stuff might be scripted, but the game may not be, and that's how
right.
it is with some of them. But in my opinion, like, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader is probably the most scripted, 100% game rigged
Yeah, probably. I
game. I
wouldn't.
mean,
I
it
don't
is.
watch a whole lot of them. I do want to clarify. I did say that Pat was not as nice as what everybody thinks he is. I'm not saying he's a jerk. Not whatsoever. I didn't actually talk to him or anything, but from what I observed when I was there, he wasn't a jerk, but he wasn't as friendly as what he puts out himself off as on the TV show.
Maybe not that he was as friendly, but he just didn't
Maybe he
associate
just
with
wasn't
them as
having a
much.
good day.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not saying he's a jerk. I'm just saying that's what went on, and so maybe he's not as nice as what he may be perceived as.
Yeah, but like these shows and all that stuff, now these games that are like chance based and stuff
Right.
like that, and things, the game itself's not rigged, but a lot of the stuff surrounding it is.
I want to say there was some controversy with Jeopardy being rigged, or at least there was one person on there that had the answers was cheating or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
It
They
was long
tried to
ago.
say that what was that dude a while back? He had made a run at what was he? He was the professional gambler from Las Vegas. What
Couldn't
was
tell
his
you.
name? It was a while back. But the guy who's known for making the most winnings in Jeopardy, you know who I'm talking about?
No, unless it's Ken, then I don't really know anybody.
Well, that might be who it is. Whatever it is, it
Ken
was.
Jennings.
Yeah. Okay, so that it was him. So there was a guy a couple years ago, I think it was a couple years ago, who was making a run at that. I mean, he had won game after game after game. Every one of
Yeah,
his
yeah.
final bets was actually somebody's birthday, or he
Oh
would
wow, I
bet
didn't realize.
everything. So, but they kept trying to say that he was cheating because I mean, this dude was like unstoppable. He would
Right.
almost answer every single question correct. But what it is he had a photographic memory.
He actually hosted uh, Jeopardy a couple of times, or one
Yeah,
time.
Ken Jennings did.
Yeah.
That was after
So,
what's his name died.
wow. Yep.
I can't remember what his name is.
Life, LifeLock. He did the LifeLock thing
Yeah,
commercial.
but
Wow.
I don't know why I can't remember his name. Either way, Ken Jennings did host it a couple times because that's whenever they was trying to figure out. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, he might still be hosting it.
I
They
couldn't
might have
tell you. I haven't
decided on
watched it
having
in
him
years.
host it. What it was, they had a bunch of different people that come back and host it to try to
Yeah.
figure out who they were going to have replace him. But
Right.
back to what I was saying, I mean, he was just like really, really, really close. You know, they actually brought somebody on that show to beat him.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
Like even Ken Jennings himself said that there's no way he would have been able to beat him. So I honestly believe that they brought somebody on that show and gave them the answers to beat him because he was costing them way more money than what he
Yeah.
wanted to spend. Like, this dude was winning like $60,000-$70,000 a game, and he was on every day.
Yeah, I was watching it too. I didn't get to watch the last one, so.
And this dude, he
I
was
was
a younger
watching-
guy. He was maybe late 20s.
I was watching it on public broadcasting.
Yeah. But they did. They brought somebody in to beat him. That I do remember. But, all right. We're going to go ahead and end it here. We did get a little bit off subject, like I always say.
Just a little.
That's what makes these podcasts
That's
good.
literally what our thing is.
Yeah. If you
Right.
come here to hear one specific topic for one specific podcast,
We
you're
went
listening
from-
to the
we
wrong
went from
podcast.
Space. I was thinking about it when we were doing math. I was like, we went from space to
Right.
math.
Look, everything connects in some sort of way. That's why we talk about everything we can. So, our quote this time is by a man who is not, but has been compared to God. Y'all know who I'm talking about?
Morgan Freeman.
It is. See, look, I'm glad y'all knew that. It's a little bit
dad?
longer one.
Like a quote from my dad.
Ferno, you about as white as it gets. This dude is not your dad.
Oh, he is my dad.
No.
Morgan Freeman is my dad.
So this one's actually a little bit longer than what the quotes normally are. Those who died yesterday had a plan for this morning. Those who died this morning had a plan for tonight. Don't take life for granted. In the blink of an eye, everything can change. So forgive often and love with a full heart. You never know. You may never get that chance again. I know that one's a little deep, guys.
Yeah, that pokes at what we were talking about before we started recording. Baker
Yep.
and I.
Pokes at the heartstrings, buddy.
Yeah.
Now, do with that information that you will. Like always. Switch.
Hasta lasagna. Don't get any on ya.
Beaker.
Adios, mi amigos.
Ferno.
Dehydrated.
We love y'all. Y'all have a good night. And in the great words of one Miss Pineapple, bye!